Hi all. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about trying new makeup, talking about new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed today's video, hitting the like button. I guess what we're doing is sort of an extended version, a continuing of the conversation that I had about brands that I want to try. So I talked about brands that I'd never tried that I was interested in trying. And I said that, I mentioned that there are brands that I have a few things from, or maybe just one thing from. And did you guys want me to do a video talking about brands that I want to try more from? And I had a couple people in the comments say yes. So that is what I'm sitting down and doing today. So this is brands that I want to try more from. I've seen a little bit from them. I've enjoyed it. I've been intrigued. I'm like, tell me more. So first up on the list is Liss Beauty. Now, Liss Beauty, the first thing I ever tried from Liss Beauty was the foundation. I like the foundation. I'm not like in love with it, but I think it's a good foundation. It is similar to the Anastasia Luminous Foundation, but I would say it's dewier. I would say that the Liss Beauty's, it's more glowy, it's more of that vibe, that dewy, glowy vibe than the Anastasia one. But I enjoy it, and I still have it in my collection. The thing that has really sort of prompted me to really want to dig more into the brand is that I recently tried their cream bronzer stick, and I am in love with it. It's in my faves video. I just think it is a beautiful product and it just makes me want to try more. I've heard people rave about the blushes. I've heard people rave about the concealer, their other bronzers. So I'm just sort of like, I want to know more. And the thing that I like about them is that they are sold in Sephora, but they're a relatively affordable brand. Especially, they're definitely one of the most affordable brands in Sephora. I would say that they are maybe a couple of bucks above a drugstore price. And bear in mind that drugstore prices are far more expensive now than they ever were before. So, like the cream bronzer stick was $18. The foundation is $22. Very affordable in my opinion for a Sephora brand, or a brand that is carried in Sephora. Next up is Rituel de Fille. Rituel de Fille is one of those brands. I always see stuff from them and I'm just like, that looks amazing. And the thing is that I have tried things from them. I have two of their highlighters. One I love, one I haven't used as much and may wind up getting decluttered, but I still enjoy the formula. I like the product. I once bought a little sampler of their items and then I tried them all, but I just forgot everything that I tried, and I really want to try some of the eye sets, and I've heard such good things, and the little bit that I've tried, I've liked. So I'm just like, I do want to try more. I do. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but it's one of those brands that I find to be very intriguing, and their formulations and their aesthetic to be very, very attractive and very intriguing. So eventually I would like to try more Rituel de Fille. Next up is Kyla Beauty, also formerly known as Muse Beauty. I only have one palette from them and it is the Van Gogh palette, and I love that palette. I believe I showed it in my favorite fall palettes video. It was one of the first videos, if not my very first YouTube video, I think was favorite fall palettes. But yeah, they have palettes that other palettes I want to try. The Honore palette, the Cocoa palette, their like little palette of like cake liners. I really want to try that. They're just that brand, they're just that brand that I'm like, yeah. And they had a sale during my no buy and I was just like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? They had a buy one get one. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I put stuff in my cart. I was like, but I was strong and I backed out. I was like, no, Amira, you will not break your no buy. I didn't do it. I thought about it hard though. And yeah, I think maybe I'll probably wait till like Black Friday or something like that and pick up a couple of things from them because their color stories are lovely and I love their inspiration. I love their inspiration. So yeah, they are definitely a brand that I want to try more from. Next up is Chantecaille. Now, my experience with Chantecaille is not extensive, but I feel like I've been using the brand forever. But when I think about what I've used, I haven't used that much. I have 3 products from Chantecaille. I have single eyeshadows. I have multiples, but it's the same formula, so I'm counting it as one product because it's the same thing, just in different shades. I have one of their cheek color blushes, and I have their blurring powder that I barely use because it's a little too light for me, and they've since come out with a deeper tone, which I'm tempted by. I just want to try more. I want to try more. I want to try their Future Skin foundation. They have so much that I want to try. They are an incredibly expensive brand. They are a brand that gives me pause with their price point. And I say that as someone who owns a shit ton of Pat McGrath and a shit ton of Natasha Denona. Chantecaille's price points make me go, I mean, they have a single shadow that is like $72, guys. I love luxury makeup. I do, and that's why the price point still takes me aback, but I'm still intrigued enough that I'm like, if I'm really interested, I might pick it up. So yeah, that's a brand that I'm like, I really want to try more. I just haven't been able to like open the wallet that wide. You know what I mean? But I'm still intrigued, and I do want to try. I have like a little mini list in my mind of things that I want to try from them. Next up is LH Cosmetics. Now, my experience with LH Cosmetics has been a bit of a roller coaster. I've tried things that I've really loved, and I've tried things that I just didn't like. I tried the deep version of the Infinity palette, didn't like it. I decluttered that. I've tried the Metallic Mysteries palette. I freaking love that palette. I still own it. It's beautiful. I think it's been discontinued. I would hope this year bring that back because I think it's stunning. And LH Cosmetics is a Swedish brand that is owned by Swedish makeup artist Linda Hallberg. I have the like clear gloss that you can use on your skin. You can use anywhere on the face. But I prefer the Danessa Myricks version of that, but you get more of the LH Cosmetics one for about the same price. I love the LH Cosmetics brushes. Yeah, so I want to try more. She's come out with so much more since the last time I purchased from the brand. It's been a while since I made a purchase. Buying from LH Cosmetics was kind of expensive in the sense that I was buying directly from her website at the time because the things that I wanted were sold out on like Beauty Bay. Her price point is on the higher side, so I did one of those things where when you shop internationally where you purchase a bunch of stuff in one full swoop, and you just like spend a lot of money and then you're like, I'm done. But she's come out with so much more since then, and there's so many intriguing products that I want to get my hands on. So yeah, I definitely want to try more from LH Cosmetics. Next up is an indie brand that I only have one product from, and it was their sort of like the palette that kind of blew their brand up and like had them all over, and everyone was talking about this palette, and it is Lois Cosmetics. And the palette that I own is the palette Meet Me in the Underworld, which if you were on social media and on YouTube, you know, last year around this time, you know, Meet Me in the Underworld was like the palette everybody was talking about. And that is for a very good reason. The formula is fantastic. The color story is fantastic. It's the only product I own, only palette I own from the brand, but I would like to try more. I know that she came out with another palette, but it was like a blue palette. I think it's the Meet Me at Midnight palette, maybe. Okay, so yes, the palette is called the Meet Me at Midnight palette, and it's a very heavy blue purple palette, which I wasn't that like in love with the color story for that, but again, they haven't come out with any more palettes since then, but I'm still keeping an eye on them and wanting to see what they do next because I think the brand is really cool. I think the aesthetic is really cool. And it's an indie brand and it's a woman-owned brand, so I think that's cool. Same thing with Kylove. Kylove is an indie brand owned by 2 women. LH Cosmetics is a brand owned by a woman. Rituel de Fille is a brand owned by, I believe, 2 women. So yeah, there are a lot of women-owned brands on my list, which I think is pretty damn cool. Another brand that I want to try more from is Brown Girl Jane. Yo, I just discovered them. I mean, I'd heard of them, I've seen them around, but I mean, this is my first time trying a product from them, and that is their fragrance in the fragrance Lamu, which I've talked about extensively on this channel at this point. I feel like I'm just like, have you smelled Lamu? Have you heard of Lamu? Lamu, Lamu, Lamu. I'm obsessed with that fragrance. I'm wearing it right now. It's stunning. It's beautiful. I'm obsessed. And I want the other two fragrances. And I also want to try some of their other products. They have candles. They have, I believe, body care products. I'm like, you know what, y'all? Tell me more. I want to hear more. I want to open my wallet for you. It's a Black owned brand, which I think is fantastic. And they're in Nordstrom, which is where I got my fragrance from. And yeah, I definitely, it's a question of when, not a question of if I purchase the other fragrances, because I wants them. I wants them. Next up is a brand, and I almost didn't put them on this list, and I still kind of feel iffy about putting them on this list, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to talk it out. Another female-owned brand, Charlotte Tilbury. Now, the reason why I was reticent about this is that I was kind of going back and forth, and I was like, do I really want to try more from the brand? I kind of do, but I kind of don't. Let me talk it out with you guys, and let me tell you why I have this trepidation about it. First off, I own a couple of products from Charlotte Tilbury. I have one of her quads, the Super Blues, which I love. I love that palette. I haven't used it in ages, and I need to bust it out because it's a beautiful palette. Cute little blue quad. Love it. I own the Icons palette. Like that one as well. Very nice palette. I believe it was limited edition, so I don't think you can get that anymore. I owned a travel size of her Hollywood Flawless Filter, which I am decluttering because the shade is not right for me. But I've held off on purchasing that because I don't think that's a product that I would get that much use out of to justify spending that amount of money on it because it's such a huge bottle, the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I hear so many people rave about her brand, and I'm intrigued, but I have yet to see anything that I'm like, yes, yes, yes. There are some reviews I've seen of her bronzer, and I believe it's she has a cream bronzer out now. That's got me intrigued. I was like, okay. It just feels like one of those brands, where it doesn't feel very exciting, but the products are probably quite good. But because there's nothing really amazingly unique about it, I'm kind of like, yeah, I kind of want to try more, but also, meh. That's how I feel about it. I want to, but I'm also like, I don't need to. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you guys? Are there brands like that on your list where you're like, I'm kind of intrigued, but also kind of not? That's where I'm at with Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm kind of putting her on this list, but I'm putting her on this list with an asterisk next to the name, because yes and no. Yes and no. Another brand I want to try more from is Haus Labs. Now, I have two products from Haus Labs. I have one of the eye paints and I have one of the pencils. I really want to try more from this brand because I feel like I would like the products. I really like the eye paint. I'm on the fence about the pencil. I have issues with it, but I also think it's a nice pencil. It's very much down a middle of the road product for me. But I'm so curious about her bronzers. I'm so curious about those like glowy, blushy highlighter thingies, specifically the orange one, because I think that would make an amazing blush on me. I'm just saying. I want to try some of her maybe one of the lip crayons. I don't usually go for lip crayons, but the colors are really intriguing. That's just a brand that I want to try more from. Like I want to know more. Now, when I was placing my order, when I purchased my eye paint, I was going to originally purchase more. But the price point of her stuff is so expensive, guys. It's like $40 for her bronzer, $40 for a highlighter, blush, and I'm just kind of like, ma'am, that's a lot of money. That's more than a blush from Pat McGrath. That's almost as much as my blush from Chantecaille. It's like $2 difference. Man. You see what I mean? I'm like, no. But also, maybe? That's how I feel about Haus Labs right now. I've heard really great things about the rest of the products, so I'm intrigued enough that I probably eventually will pick up more items, but it probably will be on a sale, probably Black Friday. Black Friday is usually when I go, hey, I'm going to try all of the things that I've been wanting to try. So I could see myself picking up, a bronzer and that orange blushy highlighter thingy at some point during a sale. But at a regular price, no ma'am. So that is my little list that I have curated for you guys of brands that I want to try more from. What are some of the brands that you've tried a few things from and you're intrigued enough where you're like, you know what, if they come out with something that's really caught my eye, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like button, and if you are not subscribed, to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.